Today I'm chatting with Greg Parkinson. Hi, Greg.
Hi, how are you, Jono?
Good. Where are you calling in from?
I'm at home here in Hamilton, New Zealand.
Okay, not a million miles away from here.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and so you've written an article for MET this month about a transition in your teaching career. What transition specifically?
So I had the privilege of teaching in South Korea for a period of 15 years. And I was an ESOL teacher that whole time, primarily teaching university students. And when I came back home to Hamilton here, I decided 3 years ago now that I would like to become a primary school teacher. So the transition is from ESOL to primary school.
Right, because I've quite often worked with people who've gone the other way. They've trained in primary and then they've moved into ESOL. This seems to be a little bit more unusual what you're doing.
Yeah, I do know a couple of others, but yeah, you're right. I think people tend to, I know a lot of people that have trained in primary and have gone overseas to teach English. So possibly going against the grain, but I'm happy so far. So
good. And so what's something that readers will take away from this article?
Well, I hope that readers can understand that I'm trying to encourage both sets of readers, whether they be a primary school teacher or whether they be an ESOL teacher. So I began my piece there by saying I'm one of the lucky ones, and I definitely stand by that. So I feel, as I mentioned to begin with, very privileged to have taught ESOL for such a long period. I probably failed to mention that I also, at the tail end of my ESOL career, I also taught in Hamilton as well, which was a really nice homecoming. And now as a primary school teacher, I feel a really strong sense of commitment to my own community, my hometown. So I think I'm really lucky to have taught in both sectors.
Yeah, and you mentioned various crossover skills things that you got good at through through teaching English, and you've been able to apply them to primary school teaching.
Yep.
What's an example of one of those? Just briefly.
The most obvious one is literacy. So I began teaching younger students in Korea, so a lot of phonics, a lot of basic reading skills, which I feel a sense of deja vu while I'm teaching here in Hamilton. So other ones that come to mind are just the ability to manage a group of younger learners, in particular the behavior management of them. So I think those are two that come to mind.
And as someone who's very recently gone through primary teacher training, and you already had the other classroom management skills, had a good handle on those. You mentioned in the article that you've become aware of other things, like how to cater to neurodiverse students, for example.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the standouts for me here back in Hamilton, in my classrooms, and not just in my own classroom, but from going through my practicum experiences through a range of schools, is just the range of different needs within the students here. Now, perhaps this comes down to a lack of insight when I began teaching in Korea. Maybe there was possibly a wider range of neurodiversity, but I just didn't notice it. But I think now, because it's been spelt out to me during my training and from my colleagues, first of all, New Zealand has a really inclusive primary school system, which I'm very proud of, and just the need to be able to come up with different strategies to include all of these different learners, whether they be students who might be autistic, students who have difficulty concentrating for entire periods. It is definitely one of the challenges of the job, but at the same time, I also think it's one of the most rewarding parts of the job as a primary school teacher here is being able to be part of a system which caters to all of these different learners.
Yeah, that's great. And I think these conversations will be really useful for feeding back these ideas, back to English language teaching. So listen, thank you so much, Greg. Pleasure talking to you.
You're most welcome. Thank you for your time as well.
And I recommend your article to our readers.
Yeah, I hope that people take my positivity out of it.
Thanks. See you next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.